Okay, so what I have talked about just now is like the Meteor. If you go to Google, you can find it like here right away. Meteor is actually a private company. They receive a lot of fundings, so they have a really strong community of developers. There are many other frameworks. You might have heard of like AngularJS, which is like sponsored by Google, React.js, which is sponsored by Facebook, and a lot of more frameworks. But the reason why we want to teach you about Meteor is not about how many people are using it. Definitely, it's not the most people using it. Because in Hong Kong, our company Sanuker is the only training and consulting partner on this technology. But this Meteor framework is really good for like doing real-time web applications. So I hope that by the end of this course, you will know that how easy it is to use Meteor to build apps. Sometimes when we talk about apps, it's not just about mobile apps. Anything, actually apps has become a really generic term. Anything with software, we can call it apps. So an application is an app. So this time we are going to do a web application. It's nothing like on mobile, but if later on, if you're interested on the intensive course we're offering in August, we can actually teach you more about how to build a mobile application with the Meteor technology. Anyone actually have not downloaded the Mark app for this class? Like, we send you an app for you to register. If you have the Ethereum, okay. If you have downloaded the app, we write that in JavaScript as well. So I can tell you that you can actually release a mobile app using the same thing you're learning today. Okay, but because normally when we do this class, how many of you are signing up through the Wave? Like through the Wave website? Because normally in the other classes we have, we normally send you instruction asking you to really bookmark us. We have our company actually developed a calendar application, so you can actually book for an event, like sign up for going to this event. So most of the time, the students we have, they have our app installed already. But that's okay. Yeah, it's not necessary. Pardon. So in Meteor, if you have done it before, basically you just need to click install now. For Macintosh, it's much easier, or Linux. This time we have a lot of Windows as well. Okay, but that's fine. For Linux or Macintosh, you can just open up your terminal and then just copy and paste for this command, and then you can download Meteor. It should take like not so much time. So Windows, you can just download the installer, double click it, and open it, and it will install it normally. There are other ways, because like if your computer is like a different version or have like I don't know, different compatibility, Windows sometimes takes more time to install. Everyone has installed a Meteor? Yes. No. Okay. Yours? Have you done? Okay. So do you know how to do it?
I'm on it.
Okay, sure. Just downloading it. Right. Okay. That's okay. Okay. So for the second thing we asked you to install, it's called Atom. Okay. When we say we are writing programs, doing coding, we write because like you actually need to type up something. So when you do programming, you actually need a software help you to write things. And technically speaking, you can actually use a notepad or like WordPad or even Microsoft Word to write programs. Because anything you can type, you can write programs. But we recommend you to use a free software for Atom because it has a lot of great things like when you are doing coding. Like it will highlight the syntax, like giving different colorings, help you to like visualize the code much easier on like auto typing, auto complete, and it's free. And so if you go to the atom.io, please download the app. And I think they have like for Mac and also Windows. It's not very big application, so you can just download it and install it. First thing, you can Google this for RoboMongo. This is not a very like common tools to install, but we do this. We recommend you to download it because later on this tool actually help you to visualize your database and in a more user-friendly way. So if you can go to RoboMongo and just download, well, I think the latest version, that's fine. So Once you got these 3 things, we will be able to get started for this course. That's okay because like every single time when we have this class, we have people that could not install, have some problems during the day. So normally we spend the first 45 minutes just to download and to get everything on the same run. So if I want to have okay, sure.
老實裝晒啦，炒過嘢。一實上佢哋想一開始已經 upgrade 嗰啲嘢。
好啦，我哋等我一陣，係好快。你係 Windows OK， 好。睇埋其他人。哦，裝咗唔會啊，唔係好似 Word 啊嗰啲咩嘅。你可以啱啱我教一教你點樣用。我哋而家會用多啲比較嘅 command line 嚟做。OK， 後面都 OK。裝晒。OK， so everyone got the things installed. That's good. So right now, basic computers, like things, not mobile programming. We actually interact with the computer. I don't know, like anyone use like command line before? Do you know what command line is? Which is this black things like in Matrix. So that's what we type and do commands and control the computer. So basically, like 20 years ago, when you don't have so fancy interface, you do all the program. You run the computer in this command line or terminal or command prompt, whatever you call it, or shell. There are a lot of different names for this thing. So in Mac, it's easy. You just go to your Spotlight, type terminal, and you can open this. You might not see it in black. I just changed the color to make it look more matrix-like. But normally it's in white and then black characters. But that's okay. Doesn't mean anything. It's just for us, like when we're facing the monitor for too long, it helps us to like really look at it for a long time. For Windows, much more trickier. So first, you need to go to your C drive, and then go to the. Anyone using Windows before Windows 7? No, right? Okay, so go to your System 32 folders, like under your C drive, and then you should be able to find out there's a cmd.exe executable. Okay, so when you find that cmd.exe, or you can do a search, try to right-click and run as administrator in order to open this command prompt. So our helpers is going to help you guys to do it. 望下先。你用嗰度啊？係咪用呢個 administrator 嚟啊？係啊，佢 right click 跟住 run administrator。3蚊。3蚊。OK 啊，用 admin 嚟行啊。我唔係嘅，我要 CMD 哦，好啦。Sorry， 你而家頭先你係撳開出嚟咧，你打 Meteor 咧，會話咩 internal command 落翻佢。如果你 right click 嘅 administrator 咧，你先 run 得到 Meteor。所以記住係咪用呢個 admin 嚟翻 ？OK， 跟住就 OK， 得。Okay, for Windows users, like you need to be more careful. You have to run in administrator in order to run Meteor. So that's why you have to right click and run an administrator. So once you have this command prompt, let me just talk about Macintosh first. We are going to teach you a few commands, very easy. So ls means it's a short form of list. Basically, you type ls and then enter, you can list where you are, and you can look into this folder. So if you are doing it normally, basically this is my Lawrence folder, like under your user. So this should be same as like in your Finder, doing the same thing. Okay. So ls, Windows also ls. No. Oh, dir. Sorry, I don't use Windows. So sorry, I apologize. Yeah, so Windows user just type dir. You can list out what the direction you have basically now. Okay, so this is just like using the Explorer or like the Finder to know where you are. We are going to have another command. We are going to navigate into a folder. So if you are in Mac, you can see that there is a desktop folder here. So if I want to go into a directory, you type cd, which is change directory, and then space, and then type up the desktop. But to save the time in typing, you can just type a few words and then click tab. It can auto-complete for you. So, and then you click enter, try ls again. And you will know that you actually go into your desktop. For Windows, is it CD or as well? And for Windows, the same, it's a CD. But I think most of you guys, when you open up the command prompt, you are not at the top directory. You are in the system 32 folders. So you need to go up, go back to the C drive. How do you go up? Go up is just CD space 2 dots, 2 full stop basically. Okay, CD space 2 full stop, and you press enter. Same as a Mac, but you don't need to do this. Okay, and then you should be on your C drive. How to verify it? Just press dir again. You should be seeing that you are on the C drive. Okay, once you're on the C drive, try to navigate to your user folder because we want to get into your desktop. I'm not too familiar with the Windows file system. C drive Okay, so you go, now you're in C drive, you can try dir. You can see that it's folders, and then you can go into your users folder. So CD to users, CD space, and then user, yeah, S. You need to be very careful about the typing. Like 2 major mistakes for programmers. I would say keep saying that. One is you misspell your things, and then the second thing is you forget to save. Common mistakes for programmers. So once you are on your desktop, I'll wait for everyone on the desktop first. OK， 去到 desktop。唔係我哋而家你睇 manual， 你入去 desktop CD 跟住 desktop。要世界。Well, I would advise that everyone try to type it in except like capital, like casing, like uppercase or lowercase with me. Windows actually doesn't matter, but for Mac, you have, let me say, if you want to do CD, you have to do it in small letters in order the command to work. 好，你打，因為你打錯字 ，desktop 啦，同嗰個 TOP 啦，但唔緊要。其實咧，你打呢個叫，即係唔係 desktop 係大界，所以我就話大細交。你打 DES 咁樣咧 ，tab 咧就可以撳 enter。咁你係咪真係想 desktop？ 咁而家你應該就係 desktop。唔該晒，即係 CP 呢個啊，小明，我想問我哋即係拎佢嘅控制上面，得未啊？邊度？And Windows, MKDIR, which stands for Make Directory. That's exactly what you do when you right-click and click new folders. So we're just trying to do it in a cool, geeky way. So MKDIR, and then type a new name for the folder. So because we are running Meteor, or I encourage you to write the same thing. So just METEOR in small letter. So once you MKDIR, press enter. And then you can just try to go back to your Finder or File Explorer, and then there should be now a Meteor folder, empty folder, on your desktop. 未收到 Okay, everyone see the new folder? Okay, once we got the Meteor folder, try to CD into that. So if you try to list that do ls on an empty folder, you should not see anything. I'm seeing something because this is my old class file. But if you do not see anything after ls, means that is an empty folder. That should be right. Is that okay? Okay. You do the mkdir, and then you need to type a name. So mkdir out and then do a Meteor. Oh, you did it. Okay. Just type it wrong that. Spanish. Okay. Doesn't matter. It's okay. So because there is already a Meteor file as well, it's okay if you go to a wrong thing. Okay. Try to be more careful. So this is an empty folder. You don't have anything. Okay. Once you are now in the empty folder. That's all the command you can learn about how to operate in the command prompt so far. I'm not going to teach you more because it could be very complicated. But what you have just learned, you learn about how to list, how to change directory, how to make a directory. Okay, these are major commands that you should use. And that's how you normally interact with your computer. So actually, if you think about this, you open your Finder, right-click, do a new folder, it's the same thing. But why are we spending so much time? Because if you're doing programming, one day later, you're going to interact with the terminal. Yeah, because not everything have a nice interface for you to double click and then click file and then like settings, that kind of things. So you need to get familiar with this terminal thing. Okay, so now we are in the empty folder. Okay, now we are going to get into Meteor part. Type Meteor, create, and then we are going to learn an application called LEADERBOARD. So just type LEADERBOARD. Okay, so once everyone have created a Meteor, try to go into your Finder to have a look. You should be able to see, you just create a new, just give me a second. I haven't pressed enter. Once you press enter, you can see it's doing some like selecting packaging version and do something. And if you go into the folder, it automatically create like at least 3 files for you. So there's a client folder, a package.json, and then a server folder. Okay? So basically, this is what the Meteor create command for you. This is actually asking Meteor to open a new project for you. And you are going to work on these projects. I mean, like all these files underneath this folder. So now, please cd into this LEADERBOARD folder. And to confirm you are on the right directory, you do ls, and you should be able to see the client package.json and then the server. All right. Once you're on this directory, type Meteor. Just Meteor is fine. Okay. Enter. So what we're doing here now is like we are asking Meteor to run. So just a Meteor command, very straightforward. And what we're doing here, you can see that it's doing like started proxy, started MongoDB, and also doing something. I will explain more about these terms later. Okay, it takes some time for the first time if you guys just install Meteor. Even for me, it's taking some time as well. Okay, so I'll let it run. I think you guys also running. Give you some more knowledge about computer as well. Okay, we are learning JavaScript, but actually today what we are learning is a whole set of technologies, and all these technologies together we call HTML5. You might have heard about this in newspaper or like on online blogs. HTML5, everyone's saying that, which is a new type of web. So HTML5 actually consists of 3 different technologies. One is just HTML itself. HTML, anyone have not heard of it?
HTML.
Yeah. Heard about this term? Okay, yeah, that's fine. And normally when we talk about HTML, you know this is something related to the website. I will tell you more. And then the second part is the JavaScript, which is the programmable part of the web. Like in a website, sometimes you see something pop up or like some interaction and it will load or like do some programming stuff. Is using JavaScript. The third part is called CSS. Well, technically CSS is free in HTML5 context. So CSS, the full name is called the Cascading Style Sheet. So basically, it beautifies the web content for you. Okay, we were going to learn all this in this two-part of process, 6 hours. So today we are mainly focusing on the HTML and also the JavaScript part. Next time, like next Thursday, we are going to teach you how to make the website look better. So that is more on the CSS. So that's for next lesson. Okay, so let me just show you like what we are going to build for the end of this courses. So we're building a very simple application called LEADERBOARD. So LEADERBOARD, you can type in a player name, say Tom, and then you can add this into the, okay, this is not a working version, okay. So basically, if you click the plus button, it will add into the list, and then basically, it will give you like the player name in here, and then once you click like +5, you can select a column, and then +5 -5, it will change the ranking or change the score, and automatically it will adjust the ranking. So this is the application, very simple. Okay. When we talk about we're building a web applications, we are not building a website. What's the difference? Website, basically, we talk about anything. You go on the something.com, and that's a website. But web application is something more, because website is basically a static content. So anything, if it needs to be changes, you need to refresh it. But what is a web application? Think about Facebook. You go on Facebook.com, sometimes someone's commented or like give you a new notification. Do you need to refresh? No, because there is something going on in Facebook that notifies you something has changed, or actually you are like you're playing with an application. Think about more like this. Like in Office, you don't need to refresh when you type. It's basically like you submitting a comment in the Facebook. So in a modern web page, actually most of the modern web page are like web applications. The only thing that defines a website from a web application is where you store the content and whether the content are dynamic. And today we're going to learn more about how to build web applications which has a database to store all the content, where you can update it, insert new things, and also retrieve this content from the database. So every time when the data in the database changes, you can see it right away on your web application. So this is what we're going to build. And okay, something more about the technologies. Let me just go back to your command prompt. So if you have finished running the app, and you can see it asks you to, it will say app running at a address. So try to just type localhost and then :3000 on your web browser. So you can use Chrome or try not to use IE. Sometimes something unexpected will happen on IE. Okay, so normally if you go to localhost 3000, you will see this website. Anyone not seeing the same thing? Yeah, just localhost and then 3000, colon and 3000. If you can see the same website, try to do the click me thing. Okay, whenever you do the click me, you can see you increase the counter here, the button how many times. It will increase by 1. Okay, what here we are demonstrating is you are actually interacting with the website and changing content. And does it refresh? No, you didn't see the whole web page need to be refreshed. So this is like a dynamic web page because you interact, it updates itself. So this is like the basic backbone of the Meteor. And is everyone seeing the same thing, right? Okay, okay. Seeing the 3000, you use, but yeah, okay, you still installing this, okay. Okay, so now we're going to talk a little bit more about how you serve a web page. Anyone know about, like, say, okay, when you type something.com, say, let me just try Google. Okay, what do you call this link? Do you know a proper name for this? You must have heard of it. A three-letter acronym. It's called URL, right? Yeah, URL is called. I can remember the full name. It's like universal something locator. I forgot. You can Wikipedia it. Doesn't matter. But the URL basically, what does it do? You type in the browser, it goes to somewhere, and then you see the website. Okay, let's break this down a little bit more about how the internet works. The internet basically a network of computers connected with each other. And this kind of computers, we give them some names. We call them servers. Okay? But think about it, like we are also like connecting with other computers. So there are different names for this. When you are connecting to another computer, if this computer serves you some content, we call that a server. That's what a server means. Okay, something serving content for you. But when you are receiving the content, we call that a client or browser. Okay, that makes perfect sense, right? You go in with your Chrome, like a browser, you go to the website. So say google.com is actually giving you some content, and you are accessing this content, so you are a client. So normally, your personal computers are served as a client side. We call it client. Normally, you hear these two terms coming in pairs, like client server, client server. So a client could be your Google Chrome, it could be your mobile Safari, it could be your apps, it could be anything that accessing a content. Okay, so terminologies basically. Okay, but now think about this. What we have done here now is say something like you go to this local host 3000 place, and that's why you can see this thing. What happened when you type Meteor? It actually turns your computer into a server as well. Okay, weird concept, right? Now you are accessing your own computer. Okay, I didn't say that a computer cannot be a server and a client at the same time. That's exactly what you just did in your Meteor. So when you type Meteor, it turns your local computer into a server. And you go to your browser, try to serve your own computer, try to serve into your own server. Okay, so that's why you're seeing this page. Later on, when I make the changes, you will know that these local 3000 are very unique to your computer. So that's why you're making changes to your own computer. Okay, so now we understand what's happening. We go to this address, you're actually going into your own computer. Okay, and just a little bit more on like terminologies for your good reference. Okay, normally when we type in an URL address, you saw a different parts of there are different components. And just for your reference, HTTP or HTTPS, it stands for protocol, basically as a protocol. For HTTP, it's calling hypertext transfer protocol. So a protocol basically, you think about it as a language. I talk to you like this in the HTTP language. So please give me something about HTTP back. That's why we call HTML. HTML actually stands for the hypertext markup language. So if you talk in HTTP, they will give you HTML. What other protocols exist here? Heard of FTP? Yeah, that's file transfer protocol. That's why you go to FTP, you can download files. And there are many different other protocols. And then out of your concern, because normally when you type in a website, you're doing only HTTP. HTTPS just stands for secure. Also, out of your concern, you just think about it as the same thing. Okay. So normally the things before your colon / is called a protocol. Okay. When you are going into here, something.com, we call it a domain. So if you want to buy your own website, firstly you need to buy a domain. A domain basically identifies your website. Okay. But think about that. Something.com, you can only rent it. If anyone have buy a website before, yeah, and you have to pay like $10 US dollar in order to rent this every year. Well, that's how it works in the internet. So you can't actually own the domain forever. So sometimes if other people have bought this domain, you cannot buy it. You can either bid for it or like pay more for them to transfer to you. But that's okay. We are not really doing your own website. But later on, if you have a new business or you have your own company, you need to buy a name specific to your company. You have to buy a domain. This is the first thing. You only buy the name though, because if you're hosting a website, what did I say? You still have to connect to a computer. So you need to actually find some computer to host your website. And sorry, okay, this is my personal things. Normally, if you need to get a computer in the cloud, we call it in the cloud because it's in the internet, you actually need to rent another computer. But that's out of what we are our discussion today. But think about this, when you are going to access another computer, right now we are typing out the URL, that's fine. Google.com, Facebook.com, Instagram.com, easy. You can remember this. But actually, the computer network doesn't work like this. Heard about something called IP address? If anyone play like games before, you know what IP address is. Or you have set up your own routers. Actually, IP address is the address of your computer in the whole computer network, in the internet. So what is actually happening here is when you type google.com, it will goes into some other servers called DNS, domain name server. It will translate something.com into an IP address. So actually when you're accessing a computer, you're actually accessing the IP address of the computer, and this will direct you to the right computer, and they will serve the content for you. So just for your knowledge. And sometimes the thing before your domain, www, sometimes could be app or could be store, anything before the domain, we call it subdomain. And normally, if you own a domain, you can configure whatever before that. So if you buy something, say Lawrence.com, you can have like app.lawrence.com, store.lawrence.com, or meeting.lawrence.com. You can create unlimited of this subdomain, and that just helps for people like your users to remember the name easier. And okay, last part. Sometimes you see some numbers after the colon. We call it ports. Ports are like windows. Like you now have the address of the computer, but you cannot get into the computer because you have to go into the computer. Then you need to access it through an open port. So by default, if you do not type anything, you are accessing a port called 80. So if you go to like google.com, sorry, if you type :80, you will disappear because they're the same thing. So by default, without typing anything, it means going into a port 80. Okay, and right now what you're doing in localhost, now it makes sense, right? Now you go to a localhost means your own computer. There are actually, if you really want to know the IP address for your own computer, it's called 127.0.0.1. It's the same thing. So localhost means your own computer. And which door or which windows you're going into is 3000. So now we know that what you are actually typing and how you actually surf the internet. So just for your knowledge, nothing about programming actually. But okay, we are good to go. You got your Meteor done. Okay, you see the same page. Okay, that's good. Okay, so now if everyone is running the page and you can see this page, we are good to start some coding. So because we are actually using the Atom for the coding part, so please open up your Atom, either in your program files or in the Mac. You just find it out. And normally the first time you run Atom, it will have some welcome screen or things, and you can just close it. Go to your file and then open, and try to find your desktop, and then go into your Meteor folder and your leaderboard. Okay, for mine is in here. No, I don't know why my leaderboard is not working. Okay. Yeah, just open up your folder and click open. I got some problem with my Atom. I don't know why. Just give me a second. Okay, so now I'm going to open, and then Meteor. You should find your leaderboard and just click open. And immediately in your Atom, you can see the left side, there's a file tree. So basically you can open up the arrows and you can see inside your folder. So it's just easy for your navigation. And then on the right side, now it's pitch dark because you haven't opened anything. But try to click into main.html under your client folder. Okay, then you can see the things in there.哦，開著個啊，跟住 open 翻頭先你 create 嘅 folder。冇錯，係嗱，如果你想你平時用 Mac 嘅，我哋 open 咗好多次，將啲冇錯，開好多次。好，應該開 full screen 咧，就嘅。OK， 咁就呢度咁然後啦。係啊，係呢度 open 改嘅，所以兩邊就係好係啦。咁就去翻你個 leaderboard， 即係去翻你穿梭嘅邊度啦，呢度咁之後啦 ，OK，open。咁而家你開出嚟啦，咁而家可以打開個 folder 啦，咁開住呢個。Okay, so if everyone just click into the main.html, anyone cannot do this? No? Okay. Okay. For the new joiner, I will get Roy or Vicky to help you to do this. Okay. So if everyone just open the main.html, we're going to show you more about what you are actually looking. So in here, you can see some kind of weird things. In HTML, we call this kind of two arrows brackets. Yeah, we call it a tag, like a tag tag. We call it HTML tag. So here, a tag comes into pairs. So you have the head, and then and you can see that a pair is identified by the name of the tag and also a slash before it. That's the closing tag, we call it. Okay. So now try to change something for me. If you can see the head, there's a title and there's a leaderboard. Try to call it like say leaderboard, or you can change it to your name or change to my name if you want to. Right, just call it Lawrence. And then click Command Save or like Control Save just to save the document. If you do not save, you can see there's a blue dot on the tab. Not very clearly, but yeah. Okay. So when you save it, anything changes? Seems no. Okay, but if you go into the tab, you should see it becomes Lawrence or the word that you just type in. Remember to save, right? So what happened here is like you just actually changed the title. Title actually representing the tab name here. Okay. If you do not know the shortcuts, you can just go to File and then Save. Yeah, same thing. Right, if you go back to here, yeah, you can see it comes to your hand. Okay, so now we know that under this title thing, you are going to change the tab name. All right. Anyone not typing Lawrence? Right? Typing your own names, right? Okay. I just want to prove to you that in the localhost 3000, we are actually looking at your own computer, not mine. Because like if you change it to like say Tom, you should be able to see Tom here. Let me just change it to Tom. Okay. So you can see this here. We changed it. Okay, that's just simple things. We don't actually need to look at this. Okay, let's go to the next part. Anyone got any problem? Just raise your hand if you have a problem. Okay, so next we're going to see body. Okay, under the body tag, you can see something called H1. H1 means like a header, a heading. Sorry, heading 1. There's H2, H3, H4. Heading basically what you are seeing here, like really big words, like welcome to Meteor. So you can try to change this, like welcome to Sanuker class. Okay, save it. You see it refresh, and then it will change. So just want to let you have the feeling that whenever you save, it actually saves on your own computer, and your browser actually looking into your computer stuff, not mine. Try to change to something different, like welcome to hell or yeah, whatever. Okay. So can everyone do this? Yeah, sure. Okay. Now we are going to message save. Control save the window save. Okay. So now you have just changed the content and you can see reflect into your HTML document. Okay. So let's try to do something more. Go back to your browser, right click. There's an inspect button. If you don't know that, inspect basically inspecting your web page, and basically you can see the raw HTML of this web page. Okay. If you open the inspector, this is what you're going to see. You can actually see that's how an HTML file looks like. You have the HTML big tab and then the end tab, enclosing two main components. One is called head. That's where you change the title, and also a body. But basically, everything in the body is what you are going to see in the website. So we are going to do everything, all your website things in your body tag. If you expand the body tag, ignore all these blue things. Later on here, you can see this is the H1 that you just type in, and then when you hover your mouse on there, you can see it will highlight on the website. And then a button, this is called button. There's something called P, and then an H2, and then you can open the UL thing, and then each of the LI is corresponding to something. Okay, so this inspector actually helps you to dissect your web page, so you know what is going on, what kind of HTML elements is in the website. You don't need to just do it in on your website. You can do it any website. That's how powerful Chrome is. Actually, Firefox does the same as well. And actually, all the browsers now have this function. So this actually, just let me tell you that if you are patient enough or good enough to just go through every single website in or any website, you can actually copy everything from the website, reproduce it on your web page without any trouble, because whatever you can see, you can copy. It's an HTML file. So HTML file is actually just a text file. So basically, if you copy all these things and then you paste it on your Atom, like say a Facebook page, you actually get all what you see in Facebook in there. But that doesn't mean like you can copy the whole website, because HTML itself is static. So if you try to copy the whole HTML code in Facebook, you can see the same thing maybe just on that moment. But like if it's 1 hour later, it's different. So because HTML is static. Okay. So if we don't have any problem, we go back to your Atom. Okay. Right now, you see this is the H1, which is corresponding to here, welcome to Sanuker class. And here later on, you can see two different things. Some curly brackets with an arrow, and then hello. And also another one's called info. This is not HTML actually, because Meteor used a different HTML thing that use the normal HTML tag, but also some kind of dynamic things. So whenever you see the curly bracket, it means that something dynamic is going on. So what is dynamic here? We call it template. And if you see these curly brackets and an arrow, we call it template. So hello, it means that it is going to find a template called hello, and then put all this stuff into here. So basically what it's doing here is, if you want to do it like this, it's the same. So it's referencing the template. So what's good about this? Why don't you just put everything underneath? Does it make it perfect sense? Because template means you can reusable. You can do it again. So try to do this, copy the hello, and then paste a lot of hellos underneath. So for that, you should be able to see a lot of click me on your website. So that should save you time to rewrite the same code all the time. And also a template is reusable not just on one page, it could be reused on other pages as well. So this is a template concept. We're going to use some later. So in here you can see an info. Info is corresponding to another template. So you can see this learn Meteor and a lot of URL links are talking about the bottom part. Okay, so far you can understand more about in a Meteor HTML world, you can actually save your time of rewriting same code through using template, or actually help you to organize. Because if you put this template into a different file, still call it something .html, it will work. Because Meteor is smart enough to find this file for you if you name it right. Like if you put all this code into another file, and because this template is also called hello, they will find it. Okay, not too hard, right? So far, still can follow. Okay, and then we're going to really build our leaderboard app. So first, please just delete all this. Okay. If you have pressed delete, and that's fine. But if you haven't, one more new function. Mac, just press Command and then backslash. Backslash is right next to your right shift button. If you press this, it becomes like all gray. For Windows, just Control and then backslash. Backslash on the right, like next to the right shift. Okay. What it's doing here is basically we call it, you comment all this code, so it hide it, so it doesn't work. Okay. So it becomes gray. It means it will not run. Okay. So if you save this, and you should get some complaint. You should get a blank page because you're referencing something hello that it will not run. So you should be able to see like a blank page. It doesn't work. Yeah. So it's hiding the code. Okay. So try to do something for me. Right click and go back to your inspector. This time we don't go to the elements. We go to the console. Okay. And you can see a lot of red stuff. Red means warning or like really bad things. So it crashes actually. Here you can see that uncaught error, no such template called hello. Okay. I'm just going to demonstrate that if your application has some problems, your Google Chrome is actually smart enough to help you to tell you that what goes wrong. So here it's saying no such template called hello. What happened here? Because you're trying to referencing a hello, but you have just hide it. So that makes sense. So sometimes if during your programming, if something doesn't work, try to at least go back to your console. We call this console to check whether there's any problems. Just this whole process, we call it debug. Like try to find what bugs you have there and try to correct it. Okay. So once we hide this, we can also hide all this as well. Actually, with even the extra one, you can hide it. Okay. Once you've done it, save it. And you should still get the blank page because we haven't done anything here. Okay. Now, help me to do something. Do a double curly bracket. You realize that when you type the open curly brackets, it will type the close for you. This is what Atom helps you, because Atom exists because it helps you type less, save your time. Okay, and then type up U. And space is optional because, like when you are doing programming, most of the time you add not the spaces. I mean, a computer will add not spaces for you, so you can just type U like this as well. But for the sake of like clarity, you can see it more clearly. Just type U. Okay. Okay. 我哋唔用 U 喎，我哋唔係 router。Sorry. Do not type U. Let's type leaderboard. Okay. Sorry. I forgot. U is something more advanced, but sorry. With the arrow as well. Like this. Okay. Now, if you go back to your console, you can see that you get the same warning because this time you're trying to find a leaderboard template that does not exist. So now we're going to create this leaderboard template. So go to your left side. Underneath your client folder, we try to create another folder first. So right click on your client folder and then click new folder and then type leaderboard. And then enter. You should be able to see there's a new folder just created underneath your client folder. If you see this leaderboard folder, it's like parallel to your client side. that means you create it wrong way. So anyone see the same thing, right? Underneath your client folder, you create a new folder called leaderboard. It's nothing in there because it's new. Create another new file. Just call it leaderboard.html. Okay, so now you should see the file structure like this. You have a client folder, underneath you have a leaderboard folder, and then you have a leaderboard.html file. So yeah, and then now we try to open this leaderboard.html. Okay, now in your leaderboard.html, try to follow what I'm typing. Template. Okay. And some of your computer, if you are Mac, if you finish typing the close tab, it will type up the finish, like the end tab for you. But if you don't see this, just type everything. Okay. So now you have the template, and then type name equal to leaderboard. Okay. With this is the basic of the template. You have to give it a name for it to reference. So try to do something like this. It's called hi, or just type anything. So once in your leaderboard, if you type something in there, you should now able to see it on your website. If someone could not get the same thing, just let me know. Yeah. Okay. Okay. At the back. Okay. 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 So now you can see that. Go back to your main.html. What happened is here is I call the whole body is going to be represented by this template called leaderboard. So now whatever you type in leaderboard, you will see in the web page. So we are actually going to work on this leaderboard.html file for the next hour or so. Everyone, okay, okay. Okay. Yeah, just create a new HTML called leaderboard, and then type up something like template with the name. Okay. Now, okay, doing okay, and just let Vicky finish. Okay. Just wait for everyone to be on the same page, and then we can start doing some HTML coding. Okay. Okay. Just really quick reminder. Remember to type the names or like do the spelling right, because later on, if you misspell something, everyone will break because it just cannot connect. Say like the name. If your leaderboard is missing some name, yeah, and then you see nothing happens. And then you go back to your console, it say no such template is leaderboard, and you wonder why. Well, okay, I already create something, but actually you misspelled the name. So be really careful about your spelling. Uppercase, lowercase matters a lot. So please remind yourself to get the right spelling right. Okay, now everyone got it? Okay. All right, now we are going to move to a really faster pace. So going back to the end product. Okay, here. I'm going to just recreate the same thing, not as beautiful as this is. It's going to be a black and white thing. Okay, and I'm just going to dissect the whole thing for you. Firstly, we're going to separate into 3 sections. First section, like here from the leaderboard, the title, and then the input box, and also a button. We call it a top layer, top container. We call it. So like the top group. The middle part, we're going to have a table, and it looks at table, okay. And then the bottom part, we are going to have some words and then 2 buttons. Okay, this is the basic structure, and we are going to code this, and we should be able to do this in like 10 minutes time. So just follow me. Okay, just delete all the gibberish you have typed in here. Okay, firstly, we are going to introduce you new HTML elements. Firstly, type just div, and then you can actually try to click tab. You should be able to type everything for you. So you don't even need to open the tab. So just div and then tab, you should be able to get something. 冇打落 ，OK， 你幫你開埋啦，冇錯，即係一個快啲嘅方法咧，去做咧就咁打你想要打嘅嘢 ，tab 呢啲就幫你做。多咗 class 係 OK 嘅。If you see something else more than the div, like classes, name or whatever stuff, just leave it alone. That's okay because Atom try to be really smart to like auto create something for you, but you can ignore that. Okay. Okay, so you now have the div. Try to give it an enter because we're going to insert something in there later. So for this div stands for division. Division is like basically a whole. It will occupy your whole row of your space. So if you go back to, I mean, you don't need to do this, but I'm just going to show you. My computer is really slow. Okay, so if you go back to your leaderboard, if you, I just want to show you that what is a div? Div basically is a part that occupies the whole space horizontally. Okay, later on, this is some difference later, but normally if you want to try to divide the space, or we call it, we want to create a layout, like how to structure this app. So a lot of time we use div because div is a really clean way to actually representing the space. So you know that the first part, we are occupying the first part. Okay, here, we want to give the div a name. So just type a name. Sorry, class. Okay, you can see this kind of, this basically this is giving it a name. So we call it class. Later on, you can see different. We call it attributes. Class is an attribute basically. You can see a name, a type, or a lot of different things. But you will learn when you do along. So class, just try to type top container. Okay. I type it wrong. Okay. Your computer doesn't like spaces if you have 2 words. So it doesn't know these 2 words. So try to either give it a hyphen or underscore. But please follow me. I think hyphen is fine. Don't try to. Sometimes HTML or like other things that's not like underscore so much. So use hyphen is the safest way. Or actually, there's another safest way is you can do top and then container like this with a capital letter. In programming, we call this kind of typing. We call it camel case. It's like a camel, like the back of the camel. It just helps you to really, if you have really a lot of words and you cannot type space, you don't want to type everything in lowercase, you can do it like this. But it's personal taste, so you can just do a hyphen as well. Okay. Okay. Now you create a top container. So under this container, we're going to have something like the title. So follow me. Just type H1 and then tab, and then you can now type it in leaderboard. Okay. Okay, and then you try to press save, like Command S. You should now be able to see the big leaderboard on your website. Okay. If you save and it didn't see the thing you expected, it means either you make some mistakes, and you can go back to your inspector, go to console, and check if you have something. You see, I still got some error here, but just ignore it if you see anything. Like same as mine. But if you like misspell something or forgot to close tab, and you will see something else prompting out. Everyone got this? Okay, H1, see the same thing? Okay, once you got the H1 right, remember in our end product, apart from this part, H1 is a heading, so it's a big word. So you can see the words are like bigger than the rest of it. So we learn a new element called H1. What about this? Something that you can type out. We call that input box. So here, underneath the H1, type input, and then tab. I know that like Windows and Mac is going to see a lot of different things, but if you don't see anything, that's fine. Just, I mean, if you show up something automatically, just ignore it. That's okay. Okay, and then just press save. Now you should be able to see an input box right underneath. Okay. Thì嗰你見到我哋 spacing 盡量咧跟一跟，因為平時咁你就冇 tap 咗啦，你 input box 啦，冇問題啦，save 咗。你話佢自己就去做 auto type 嗰啲 ，OK 嗱，點解變咗做type button 咧？如果係啦，如果佢真係，因為我頭先你見到我有 text， 因為 auto type 佢我哋可以做翻 text。save 咧應該你見到同我一樣，仲有個咁樣。Okay, so now you just create an input box. I just saw like sometimes if you if they might like auto type for you, and this type become like button. If you see something like this, just ignore it or just type it as text. Yeah, but normally you shouldn't get a problem. Okay, so now we got an input box. What about next? Right next to the input box, there is a button. So in HTML, a button, the tag is also called a button. So just type button here, tap. And then we are going to give some content into the button. So just type add player. So now you should be able to see there's an add player button right next to your input box. Okay. If you remember what I told you before, any HTML tag should come in pairs. But if you are like really paying attention, you can see that button there is an open and end, but input doesn't have it. But this is legacy. Some of the HTML tags in HTML just doesn't have a closing tag. So you don't. It's not something you're missing or I miss it. So just some elements does not have it. So input is one of them. So don't worry about it. So normally you should see it comes in the pairs. And an atom actually helps you to identify which pair you are talking about. If you go into this div, you can see the blue line underneath, and it will tell you which are the corresponding closing tags. So it just helps you to visualize your thing. And when you're typing, try to follow my indentation. This actually helps you to visualize which part belong to which part. So try to do the indentation right. Okay, so now we actually get the top container right. Okay, we can move on. So now you have done the top container. So just go enter. You can skip a line. Here, skipping a line or spacing is fine. Yeah. So here we just type div. This time we call the div with a different name. It's called middle container. Okay. So if you save it, nothing happens because you haven't put anything into the div. So what do we have in the middle part? We have a table. So another new HTML element to teach. Just type table. Okay. If you type table and save, still nothing happens because you didn't put any content into the table. Okay. So I'm going to tell you more about tables because table is something quite special. You need to really structure in order to display something meaningful. I'll just wait for the back. Are we okay? 去到 table 嘅Yeah, I'll just wait for the back and just to up to this step. So now we got the top container right. we're trying to build a middle container, and later on we will build a bottom container. But if you realize that what we are doing here is still static, yeah, this is not programming. This is basically just typing out the HTML. This is what we want later. But today you're going to do some programming. So so we will try to get faster in here, and we get to the programming part soon. Okay. Okay. If everyone just got to the point, I'm going to. Oops. Okay. 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 Maybe some problem in this room. Got some like spiritual stuff here. Maybe. Okay. No, it's fine. Okay. Okay. So if we go back to here, I'm going to tell you more about the table. So this is a whole table, and the table is structured this way. You have different rows. We call it table rows, which is called TR. I will show you later. So each row consists of 2 columns. So in here, each column in a row, we call it the data. So it's called TD, table data. So you will see each row is going to have 2 data. And for the first row, it's going to have some little difference. You can call it TH, a table header. So what you're going to see is like a table with multiple TR, and inside each TR is going to have 2 TD or a TH table header. Okay, so we're going to just type it out here. Okay, my mon really has some problem. Okay, I'm going to use the HTML. Just give it a second. Okay, that's.冇咗，呢度。Okay, back online. Okay, so here, inside the table, we're going to have a TR, as we said, is a row. So inside the TR, we're going to have a TD. Let's just do TD first, and then try to type, maybe say the same thing, David, and then another TD, which is score. How many score? Say, just type the same, 25. If you go back and save, you should be able to see David and 25. Okay. So this is how a table works. You have a column, and inside each column you have the data. Okay. But as I said, there's a header. So maybe we need to do this again. You can just copy this if you want to, on top of David 25, and then just change the TD into TH. Okay, and then we should give it back the right column head. We just call it what did I call it before? We just call it player name, and then we call it score. Okay, so now you should have the table header and also 1 row of data. If you do not understand, just try to copy what I'm typing. It shouldn't be, yeah. Be careful on the indentation. Remember, like each row, it consists of 2 TH or TD things. Yeah, and if you do the indentation right, you should be able to do it fine when you save it. If anyone's just finished it quickly enough, try to just copy this David 25 TR and try to give a few more new names like Tom, and then give a random score like 32, and then another row just call it Mary. Try to have at least like 3 rows of data, and you save it. You should be able to see 3 rows of data with the header, something like this. Got it. 冇問題，一陣我哋會改啦，就係想俾你睇到有3行嘢先啫，係。
我覺得你好方便，可以隨時打完之後有嚟嗰個佢 ending 嗰個 tab， 呢個冇嘅。
哦，你可能咧，你係咪就咁打個名跟住撳 tab 啊？係啊。有冇打個開 tab？ 你可能打咗個開 tab 有時唔得，你可以俾阿 Vicky 幫你試試。係。Sometimes atoms on Windows have different configurations, so sometimes the auto typing thing might not work, but yeah. Yeah, so you can see like Atom actually helps you to save your time typing. Yeah. So just try to copy what I'm doing here, and you should be able to see 3 rows of data. OK， 冇錯，你可以有打到4次冇所謂，因為你可以即刻睇，你俾啲名我打字個名都得，唔係咩得。OK 啊，睇得到，最緊要唔好淨係打，跟住睇翻你嗰個或者數據出嚟。如果數據就咩就開。OK， 睇到啊，睇到啦，明咗。Yeah, try to do the indentation right. Yeah, and then you will be more clear when you try to indent the closing on the same layer, and then let's just indent all the TR on the same layer. And just tap. So, actually, do it like this, and then this is going right back like this, and so it's more clean. Yeah, yeah, and you go to that whole group. So try to be more structured and more tidy and easy. Okay, finish the code.自己冇寫過 HTML 之前，網頁嗰啲做過，好 basic。咁寫咩 program 多？呢樣嘢，寫咩 program 多 ？C++ 都會啊，係咪？做多啲，學多啲新嘢。我哋其實之前我 keep 住去 interview 嗰啲 interns 啊或者咩，其實我唔即係我哋會 expect 我始終話早寫咗，盡量做多啲 exercise 啊 practical 嘅嘢，咁你變相 build up 你個 portfolio。即係我諗而家好多人都會 expect 你會有啲嘢俾人睇，咁先好似可能你做個 project 有用，但係就建議你試下啲唔同 language 啊，學下啲新嘢。即係我哋點解會做呢樣嘢，就希望你好教話俾寫網頁冇咁難嘅先。咁我希望at the end of this course 你要知道點樣可以做一個網頁係有個 database 拍咗喺後邊嘅。有冇做啲 database 嘅嘢先講嘅？冇問題聽下啦，有冇 OK 嘅？如果對你嚟講新嘢，因為我有時會覺得有啲人讀過咧，就覺得太簡單，係，但係唔緊要嘅，學多樣新嘢好似。OK。Okay. Good. Okay, I'll be done with that. Let's wait for the back. Okay, so actually now we have finished 2 parts. So we're going to have the third part. So underneath your closing div in your Meteor container, just try to type enter and create another div. This time we give it a name, and as expected, just call it bottom container. Okay. So in the bottom container, let's go back to our reference sample. There are actually two parts. One is the a text, it's called selected player, and then the name of the player, and then two buttons. So we are going to have basically a div here. Okay, we just type something in. So just call selected player. Okay, and then we give it another div. Just pretend you have selected Mary. So this is another div. And then the last part is we have two buttons, right? So we have a button. We just call it +5. And then lastly, another button, call it -5. Save it. You should be able to see like the 4 things you created down here. Okay? I'll just give you more time to type this out. Okay. So we have pretty much finished the whole HTML thing for today. Well, pretty much. And you realize there's a lot of typing. That's what we write programs. Actually, we type more than most of the people, like, yeah, even writers, I think. Just, you need to learn it this way, because if you just copy and paste from like internet or like my code, you just forgot how to do this. So the typing actually helped you to understand or remember what you're doing. And especially if you type it wrong or misspell something, you really learn it, because next time you will know that you should type something wrong. Once everyone finishes, just let me know. I'm running out of battery, so I need to charge my computer. What happened? Okay. Everyone got it? Yeah. So typing. Okay. Okay. If everyone is almost done, that's fine, because like this is actually most of the HTML we're going to do. So next part, we're going to touch something more on database. So be attentive, because we're going to do one line to create a database. Okay, so now here, going back to your file tree, on your leaderboard folder, just the top root folder, basically, right click and then create a new file. Just create a new file is fine. Just call it collection.js. Okay, so the extension JS stands for JavaScript, because we're going to write JavaScript. But in this file, we're going to just write one single line. Okay. Here, if you created the file, just follow what I do. No, just be careful on the casing. So scores with the big capital S equal to new Mongo dot collection. Just follow what I type. It's fine. And then scores with a small letter S. If you are typing without the colors, that's fine because sometimes when before you save, sometimes it doesn't work. But doesn't matter. If you can type up everything word to what I just typed, it should be fine. If you see different colors, that's fine because sometimes the setting is just different. Yeah. It's okay. Okay, and then later on in the JavaScript, you can see you always see like what I have typed here. You will always see a semicolon. In a computer world, semicolon means full stop. So that means the telling computer that I finished running the whole line. Yeah. But Meteor is flexible enough for you to forget to type the full stop. So sometimes it will still work if you didn't have the semicolon. But as a good practice, just try to remember to type the semicolon as well. Okay. So once you saved it, nothing changes. But that's okay. I just wait for everyone to finish this. Okay. In here, let's go back to some theory things. This line actually is not so complicated. Today we are going to create a database. The database technology, there are many different database technologies. You have something called SQL, structural query language. There are, I think 10 years ago, SQL database are like really mainstream. You heard of like Oracle. You heard of well, actually, I don't think you have any other name. But MySQL is another database. So SQL is like the really default database people learns about, or even Microsoft Access if you have done with it before. But here we are going to learn a new type of database. We call it this database is called MongoDB. So this is how it's spelled. It's not Mango. It's not other spelling. So it's Mongo, M-O-N-G-O. MongoDB is a different type of database technologies. Meteor use this database. I won't go into the details what is different between SQL and also Mongo database. And Mongo database is not called SQL database. It's called NoSQL database. And we call this type of NoSQL database a document-based database. If a SQL, normally we call it a relational database. But that is technical, so you don't really need to learn about. But here, basically, I'm telling you that we are creating a Mongo database. And inside a database, don't think database is something really hard. Think about your Excel. So Excel, you have columns and then basically grids. And here, remember in your Excel, you can create new tabs underneath. So each tab is a table. Okay, you think about it as a table. So I have tab 1, tab 2, tab 3. So now we are actually creating a table called scores. So basically a single tab called scores. Just give it a name. Okay. Okay, here another computer theory things. Equal. In the computer world, equal does not mean equal. Okay. But what does it mean? We single equal sign, we call assignment. We put right things into left things. Okay, so x equal to 3. In the mathematical language, that's fine. Exactly the same. 3 now become x. Okay? So it's a normal algebra. That's how you interpret it. But that doesn't mean equal. Equal is like checking if something equals to something. So in computer, when you do a program later on, if you want to compare the equality of two things, you use two equal sign. So whenever you see only one single equal sign, it means assignment. So just really exactly what it does, right hand side becomes the left hand side. So left hand side is a variable to store the right hand side things. So here is exactly meaning the same thing. On the right, you are creating a table called small letter s scores. Now we assign it to a big letter S scores. So later on in your whole program, if you want to refer to this database, you just need to type in this big letter S scores. That is your database. So later on, you will see like scores.insert, scores.find, and scores.maybe update, which is later on. You won't touch on this. That means calling your database. Okay, and I will show you what is the database. Okay, save this line, and then go back to your website. Right click and go to inspect, and then go to console. Well, you still see the the red words, means something goes wrong, but that's fine because we haven't changed something. But that doesn't hurt your program. Okay, now try to type the big letter S scores. It should auto-complete for you. Okay, if it doesn't auto-complete for you, and then that means you might have typed something wrong in this statement. Yeah, hopefully you didn't type it wrong. And try to just scores and then press enter. Okay, if you see something like this, that's fine. If you say cannot find scores is not undefined, that means you type something wrong. Okay, everyone see this, right? Okay, that doesn't mean anything. Okay, let's go back a little bit more. What is a console? Console basically is how you can control your browser. What does it mean? You can actually type command to control your browser. Just follow me, type this alert in small letter. And then open bracket, close bracket. Press enter. You will see something pop up. Okay, so you're actually controlling your browser to do a pop-up. Okay? If you want to type the same command, press up arrow. Now this time, inside the bracket, type open quotation mark, single quotation mark, and then another one to close it, and type hello. So basically now, if you press enter, what you will see is like a pop-up with a hello in the middle. Okay, here, like this. So this console actually is like your black things, like this terminal things. Now this terminal thing is controlling your computer, but this console is controlling your browser. Okay, so now we're going to do some interaction in this console to try to actually tell the browser to do something. Okay, so that alert is just for demonstration. You are going to do something more sophisticated. So here we go back to our database example. If you type up scores, follow that. Just follow what I type. Try to not misspell anything. And then insert. From now on, if I didn't ask you to type enter, don't type enter, because you are going to crash it if you want to. If you do something like this. So insert and then an open bracket, a close bracket. Okay. As I said, in JavaScript, spacing doesn't matter. So I'm going to do a lot of space, and you don't need to follow it because I just want it more clear for you guys to have a look. Okay, let me just blow up the words. Okay, here, a curly bracket and a closed curly bracket. Right now I'm going to put some spacing for the character. You guys can see better. You don't have to do it. Okay, and then now, just think about our database structure. If you are going to record some player names and scores, think about it in Excel. What are you going to do? You have a first row just to say the player name and the score. Okay, we don't need to do it. Your database doesn't care about the heading. So we're actually only going to have two columns. One storing the player names and one storing the scores. So just try to follow what I do. We type name here and then colon. Okay, now with a open quotation mark, and I'm going to type my name, Lawrence, and then a close quotation mark. Remember, like brackets or quotation mark always come in pairs. Don't forget to close it. Okay, now we have this. Okay, and then I type a comma, and then I give a scores. And then this time I don't need open quotation. I just keep it say 34. Okay. Don't press enter until I tell you to do so. Okay. So this is the basic structure of like how you insert something into a database. Okay. Let me just try to be less technical. Okay. Here you have a key. We call it a key value pair. A key is basically the header of your table. And then, so what is the key? The value is Lawrence, basically. So you have a key called name, and you have value called Lawrence. And you have another key called scores, and you have the scores, which is the value. Okay, that makes sense, right? So if you translate back into a Excel view, it basically, you see that the values are the rows that you are having, and then the key are the header. Okay, so try to visualize this, but I will show you later. Okay, if you have exactly character by character, same as what I have done here, then you can press enter. If you did it right, you can see some kind of weird things, which mine is going to be different with yours. If you're trying to look at the people next to you, you should be able to see something also different from yours. Okay, so not just you are different from mine, it's everyone have a unique string. Okay, unique string, we call a series of characters, we call it string, just technical terms. Yeah. Okay, so if you see this, that means okay, you're doing fine. Okay, and then try to press the up arrow. We're going to insert another one. Try to change the name to say Peter, and then with a different scores. This time, say maybe 8, something like this. You can type whatever you want. Once you're confident with what you're typing, then you can press enter. And then you should see another random character things. Try to add one more, so at least three times. So this time I'm going to have a like Jane, and then 18. So if everything goes okay, you should have 3 random strings like this. So insert fail. I may create a database, may save. Okay. Oh, scores insert.
我同樣情況啊，因為我唔係先睇嗰個 collection。係啦，嗱，你個 collection 咧，記住係擺翻喺最底下，即係擺喺你呢個後尾㗎呢個，即係喺最 top 嗰啲。係，所以你擺喺度咧就 OK。嗱，因為咧面同我做呢個嘢嘅字。Okay, I saw some people have problems about inserting fields. Just try to double check where you have this collection.js file. It has to be out of client folder and also the server folder. And I will explain it later why. So be sure that your collection.js is out of client folder or server folder. Okay, if everyone can insert it. Okay. 你知道啦，咁啊，再 insert 多2個，就最好就唔係。Yeah, try to get at least 3 entries into your database. Okay. Okay, if everyone get at least 3 entries, now we are going to type a new command. This time it's also scores. That means referring to our database. And then dot find
and then brackets, and then dot fetch. Okay, what we did before, we are telling the database we're going to insert something. Okay, this time we're going to find the things out. So scores.find means actually looking into your database, but find means just look at it. You actually want to get the data out, so you need to fetch. So when you press enter, you should see this. If you have insert 3 objects, you will see 3 objects. If you have more or less, you should see less. And then there's an arrow here, which means you can expand it. Try to open it. So if you open it, you can see something weird. Well, you can see the data you just input with the random things, colon underscore ID. And if you have insert all these 3, it should match to what you have before. So that means you actually, in your database, you can find these 3 things. So this is one way how you can look into your database. Okay, if you have a 1 million objects, you're going to output 1 million ones. It's really inconvenient to look at it like this. So I'm going to teach you another way, but this is a quick way to check whether you actually finish inserting something in there. And one thing I would like to tell you, like when I say you have saved something in the database, even you refresh it or did anything, you should be able to still find the things. Like when we save something in the database, we call it persistent because something's already saved. It's right into their files. So that's different from like temporarily saving something into your browser. So you actually save the data into a physical location. That's how you save things. That's why database exists. They save this data in the one place. Not like when you refresh it, it disappears. Okay, so okay, now you can see these three objects. We're gonna do something really quick. Remember, there's another tool we have just downloaded called RoboMongo. So just open it, and you should be able to see a screen like this without so many things in it. 你未裝啊？係裝啦，得㗎。你開咗佢啦。呢個。Okay. If you have some problem with this, like cannot open because of security things, you need to go to your for Mac. You need to go to your system preference, and then go to security. Then just try to open it. Like here. Okay. Sorry, that's fine. That's good. Okay. You need to be there. Okay, and then go open it. You can also it and then just do it anywhere for once. And then once you open it, you can once you open it, you can turn the information. Yeah, it's just going to bypass it. Yeah, because of security reasons. So now you go back to identify this. Okay, cool. So you get something like this. Okay. You got it? Okay. If you see something, these are my own stuff. You should see a blank screen. Yeah. Okay. So now, do something. What I'm going to do. Just follow me. So do a create. Okay, and then give this connection a name. So what you're doing here, like this tool helps you to connect to your database. So normally I would just call it localhost 3000, just to let me know that this is the 3000 connections. Yeah, any name you can type. They call it Tom or even Jerry is okay. So okay, here the address is called localhost. Here, what port should we put in there? You're going to connect to your database, which is connected to what you're serving. 3000, right? Okay, but things doesn't work like this. In the computer world, database is always +1 for the port you're opening. So if you're opening in 3000, you type 3001. So this is a default for Meteor, basically. They will create a database port just for you to access, but it's a +1 port for your normal 3000. So once you've done this, save, Okay, and then if you go back to your list, double click it, and you should open it. And you see a folder called system and also something called Meteor. And open the Meteor one. You should find 3 folders. Double click the collections one, and you should see a scores. Try to open it. You see something really weird, but if you are you can remember it. These 3 things are the real random string that you have just input. And I try to open the arrow. You should be able to see exactly the data you have just input. Yeah, scores. Double click the scores. Yeah. Everyone can see it? Okay, cool. Sorry. Okay, so does this tool help us better if you have 1 million rows? Well, it's the same, all right? You still need to open every single object to see things inside. But there's actually another button on the right-hand corner here. View results in table mode. Okay, when you click in there, much easier, right? You can see like an Excel view, a grid view. So this is exactly I want you to try to visualize when I'm talking about the database structure. So it's a table. It's like Excel. Okay. And just a little bit more on what is the random things that created for you. Because here in a database, we are calling this a document-based database. So actually, each row we identify as a document. So it's like your Hong Kong ID numbers. They want to give it a unique reference. So the random things you have is like a really random series of characters. So that refers to that column. And that helps later on. If you want to say, I got another Lawrence, has a different scores, you can still identify which Lawrence you are talking about. So this unique identifier underscore ID, we call it, is very useful when you want to get a specific record from your database. And I think later on, we will need to use it. Okay, so this RoboMongo is just a visualization tool to look at your database. You can not use it because you don't have to use it. You can still use your command prompt. So that's just an introduction about how you can visualize your database. So now we can go back to programming. But I think we now should have a 5 minutes break because later on we are all going to write in JavaScript, do the actual coding. Before you do all the HTML, don't call it coding. People laugh at you. I mean, that's basically just copy and paste, try to structure an HTML. But later on, what we are going to do is really how to make this website more dynamic and actually do the programming part. So we have this 5 minutes break. We come back in 9:20. And if you have any questions, feel free to ask. Okay, now we continue the second session. Okay, now we have done the database part, so you guys know what the database is. So we don't need this file, actually, even close it. And then, okay, so now underneath your leaderboard folder, right click, create a new file. And guess what the name is? Leaderboard. Leaderboard and then .js this time, not HTML. Don't type it wrong. Yeah, leaderboard.js. But actually, for the naming, it doesn't really matter for Meteor, because file name is not the most important. It's sometimes how you reference the either HTML, say the template. You cannot get the name wrong. You have to have the exact name if you try to reference the template. For the JavaScript part, also. Okay. So now, if you go back to your main.js, I'm going to show you something. Main.js is really daunting. A lot of alien words in there, but I will tell you that most of this are useless for our level. Okay. So in Meteor, because it's a framework to help to write code quicker, their JavaScript actually normally comes into sections, different sections. So you can see something like this is, I call a session, like on created, and then you have something like this. And then you have helpers, like this, and events. For our concerns for this beginner course, we only need about helpers and events. And then look at it in more detail, you see template.hello, 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 which means actually these are actually template specific. So if we got a template called leaderboard, we're going to change this later. So try to just copy these two sessions, the template.hello.helpers and also template.hello.events. Just copy it and try to paste it in your leaderboard.js. Yeah. Okay. So now, but we're not actually working on the hello template. So just replace the hello, become leaderboard. But now I'm going to teach you another quick way to select multiple words. So just double click the hello. In Windows, just press Control. Mac, just press Command. And then we do Command D or Control D. You can see if you highlight something, if you press Command D, it will search for the next duplicate. Okay, and then you now press the left or right arrow. Okay, you can actually now do multiple cursors at the same time. So it just saves you time typing multiple times. So now we just call it this leaderboard. It doesn't work, and it doesn't just work with just one copy. If you have 10 copies of the same thing, you can also do the typing like this, which is something like a search and replace, something like this. But sometimes it's quicker. Okay, and then in your helpers, just delete this. Also, in your events, just delete this. So you should leave with just 4 lines, technically. Okay, so we're going to focus on these 2 blocks of codes of the inside the leaderboard template. Helpers, I'm going to explain at the end of this lesson, and events is what we're going to do now. Okay, events in programming world is something that triggers something happens. Okay, so this event is what you trigger. What do we call? What kind of events do we have? Is when you click a button. So clicking is an event. Your mouse maybe move on something, or drag on something, or like it submit the form. This we call events in your browser basically, or even scoring. You can actually is an event. But what we are concerning here now is just clicking. So just type what I type here. Open quotation mark. I mean just quotation mark basically appears, and then click, and then do button. Okay, and then brackets, and then open curly brackets. Okay, enter. Okay, just a little bit more on brackets. You will see these brackets a lot. If you come from a science background, this bracket means a function. Okay. So if you have fx, if you know what I mean, f bracket x, that's a function. Okay. Same. The meaning is easy. You give in input in there, it will process it, and then give you output. Okay. This is what a function means. You submit something in there, it's like black box, and it will do something, and then give you output. We will talk more about this later. Okay, so here a clicking button, it will be a function because your input is the click button things. It will trigger something to happen. So we are going to program what is going to trigger. So let's do something simple first. Alert. Semicolon if you want. Okay, what does this mean? It means that when you click a button, it will call an alert. So sometimes when you see this bracket things, just don't be too scared about it, because it just means trigger a function. This function basically is calling an alert. Okay, yeah. Okay, so now try to click add player. Okay, mine's not working. Yeah, too slow my computer. Okay, here when you click a button, you should get a pop-up once you save. Remember to save, please. Has anyone got it? Okay, and try to click other button. Like +5 or -5, you will still get a pop-up. Okay, so now at least it works, right? Okay. Okay, so everyone got it? So now we just did your first programming task. So now you can control what happened when you click the button. But now, can we be more specific? Because later on, when we click the add player button and +5, -5, it should trigger different things. So now we want to be very specific on handling what should be triggered and what trigger what. So what happened here now, we want to do a fancy split screen. So go to your leaderboard.html, right click, there's a split left button. You click split left, and you can try to enlarge your screen. Okay, and then now just select the right tab. So you should have your HTML on the left, and then your leaderboard.js on the right. It just helps you to see two things at the same time. Nothing really rocket science. Okay. Okay. Now, remember we try to give names to different sections or different components of your HTML, but we should actually give names to the button as well. So here, if you go to your leaderboard.html, right before you're closing your first button tab, type ID equal, and then double quotation marks. Okay, and then just follow what I type. Add player button. Okay. You're seeing I'm doing this weird casing thing again. Like the first word, small letter, and then every new word I have a big letter. Just to remind you, this is called camel casing. Very common in the programming world because computer just doesn't like space. So yeah, you can do it, or you can do it with hyphen as well. But to be consistent, try to follow me. Okay, remember to save. Okay, what's happening now? Basically, I just give this button a new name. ID, which means that you need identifier. So when you use ID, be really cautious because ID can only exist once. If you have multiple IDs, the program just doesn't know which one you're referring to. So if you know that this element only exists once in your layout, then you can call it ID. But if you're reusing the same name, try not to. And there are different ways to do it. Class is one part you can reuse the same name. So you can actually call this button a class with a name. But I'm just going to demonstrate easier. Just call it ID. Okay, now what happened next? Now we want to try to trigger this alert by clicking the Add Player button only. So if you press +5 -5, it shouldn't work. So here, right after the button, just type the hash and then the name of the ID. Okay. I'm not going to get into very details, but ID is hash in short form, basically. So if you have ID of the name, you just give it the type of the element you are doing, and then give the ID, and then with the hash, which is meaning the ID. Okay, so now save the files. Remember to save your HTML as well, or it doesn't work. Now you try to click. It should only work. The alert should only work if you click the Add Player button. +5 -5 should not work. So now you can become very specific. You know you can control that which button triggers what action. Okay. Remember to save both files, the HTML and also the JavaScript. Okay. So if everyone got this, we're going to move into something more interesting. Okay, what we are trying to do here is we want to type something like a name in there, and then click the Add Player button. What is happening is click the Add Player button. It will retrieve the content in this input and then save this into the database. Okay, seems like not so easy, right? But we're going to do it. So here, we now know that when I click this button, I should get the content from this input box. How? So we just follow what I do. First, we have to give a name to the input again. So this time, I don't use ID, just for the sake of demonstration. You can use ID perfectly, okay? And you can use name, which is, I think input sometimes name is actually quite common to see. So that's why I'm teaching you the name as well. Okay, name, it's called player name, called input name. Okay, input name, save it. So now you can reference this input. Although you can see there's only one input, but it's good practice that you actually name everything. Because later on you don't know if you want to add another input, then you get confused. So try to be more specific when you are trying to get or like target which elements you are talking to. Okay. So now it's going to be long typing, but try to follow what I do. Remember when I say equal, what does it mean? Yeah, right thing, put in left. So now in JavaScript world, you can actually declare a variables like x. Okay, you call it something by calling the command var. var means creating a variable. Now we call it input name. Okay. So now we have the x. X basically is the input name. Equals. What's happening now? I want to put something into this variable. So what we are going to put is that it should be the content of the input. So what we're going to do here is just follow me. It's going to be quite complicated. First, type the $, and then a bracket. Can anyone tell me what does that mean? Call it a function. So $, in JavaScript is something quite, you will see this a lot later. Because there's a really famous JavaScript library called jQuery. And to represent this library, you use a $. So if you have another library, say Lawrence library, you can actually call it something like this. But they just will want to like save your time typing. So this library, by default, is using the $. Okay, so now you're actually calling a function. What does this library do? It actually helps you to find the element inside your HTML. So how do you find? I want to find the input. Okay, so what do we do here? First, just a quotation mark, and type out what you want to find. I want to find input. Okay. Okay. Now, if we are using ID, it's easy. You have done it. You learn it. You can just push a pound sign, a hash sign, and then the name of the ID. But we're not using ID here because we want to learn something new as well. So we don't need a hash sign. We now do a square bracket, and then type name and equal, and a double quotation mark. Okay, and then you can just put the name of the input. So it's just input name there. Okay, so this square brackets. Do you remember what do I call this kind of something equal to something inside the HTML tag? We call it attributes. So if I have something else, like say type here, if you want to reference not using an ID, but using a specific attribute, you can actually use square brackets. But it's something quite advanced, but I just let you know. So here, if I want to select only the input with the attribute called name, and the name is called input name, that's how we do it. If you want to specify a type, you can actually do this like this. You don't need to type it. I just demonstrate. So that means you're also specifying another one, another attribute. So this is just another way to do it. You don't have to really care too much. And by convention, I like to not everyone. I like to actually use single quotation in JavaScript and double quotation in HTML. The reason why is exactly what's happening here. Because if you try to, because this is in a double quotation, so you can actually use double quotation here. If you try to use everything in a single quotation, what is going to happen? You can see some really weird, coloring. Because when I say quotation come into pairs, the computer is not smart enough. They would say this is a pair, and then basically this become another pair. So when you have chance to use both double and single quotations, remember this is one part you need to pay attention to. So I would prefer HTML always use in double quotation, so you can just copy and paste into that. Yeah. If you don't understand what I mean, I say in the last 3 minutes, just ignore me. Yeah. Yeah. It is something quite advanced. It's also a convention thing, but it's good if you follow this kind of way to do it. Okay. And then, so what happened now? We call the jQuery function to find something for us. I tell you that it could find it because you put the right thing. But you find the input, but we want to get the content inside. And in the input, the content is called value, so it's VAL, and then another brackets. So what's happening here is like the first part, we use jQuery to find this input, and then a dot means like once you run a function and then run another function. So once I find it, I find its value. So I put this value into the input name. Does it make sense? Okay. So another semicolon if you want. Okay, we did it before. Like we can actually produce some content in your alert. Last time we have the quotation mark. This time we don't have. Oops. It should be inside the brackets. I don't know what happened here, but it should be like this. That is. Okay, so what's happening here is like in this line, we are trying to get the content into input and save it into the variable called input name. And now we're trying to use the pop-up to show this input name. Okay, save it. And then now you can go back to your website, type something, say Tom and Jerry. Okay, and then you press add player. Oh, okay. Now you got the content inside in the pop-up. And great, that's exactly what we're trying to do. We're trying to get the content in from the input box and try to do something with it later. Okay, now we're just doing a pop-up, but at least we got the content. OK， 唔得，好嗱咩事咧？如果唔得咧，就睇睇個 log， 佢就話哦冇嘢喎，冇問題喎。咁點解咧？因為4咩？呢度叫 input name player button， 點解有個 space？ 係啦，大家咁樣 save 咗。雖然其實你揾唔到佢喎，一個掣撳嘅時候咧出嚟，因為個名。我而家試下打啲嘢啦。OK， 嚟講。OK，everyone got it？ 唔得，好。有冇 check 下你有冇轉錯字啊？冇啊，大家。隔離有冇 save 啊？有。好，呢度 add player button，add player button， 好。name 就係 input name， 好，跟住之後，跟住之後就alert， 唔緊要，哇，望一望，喺邊度？好，嗱呢度錯咗啦，嗱 syntax error 打錯字啦，即係有啲語法上嘅錯誤。好，啱啱過嚟睇下先。但有時佢唔知喺邊度咧，睇呢個話俾你邊行錯嘅，呢度 LEADERBOARD HTML 第4行 expected space 嗱 LEADERBOARD HTML 第4行 LEADERBOARD HTML 第4行呢度好啦，呢度唔可以黐埋一齊。咁咪識分翻邊一個 attribute save 咗佢哋得㗎。OK， everyone got it？ 唔係，如果係錯咗條條。即係你有個 bug 咧，有時係你部有兩邊嘅，有時係 front end 我哋叫喺 browser 度睇到嘅問題。如果 browser 冇咧，就你成日要 double check 下個 system 嗰邊有冇錯。係啊，咁呢個係 normal practice 同 debug。即係佢乜嘢都最穩。啊 Yeah. Okay. Everyone okay? Yeah. Okay, cool. Okay, so now we can get the content. What are you going to do next? We want to put this into the database. And we have done this once, actually. If you follow what I'm trying to do, it should be easy to comprehend. How do we add things in the database? First, we call the database. What is our database name? Scores with big S or small s? The big S. Yeah, you need to refer it. Remember, if you go back to our console, remember when we did something like this, insert something? We're going to do exactly the same line, actually. So we type scores dot insert. Okay, this time you can press enter because it doesn't run the command. So as I said in JavaScript, space doesn't matter. So sometimes I would want to do something like this. It just makes the whole thing easier to comprehend. So basically, I split the line out. Okay, and what is the key? Name, right? So what name we're going to put into? The name should be the content we got from the input. So here, input name. There. Okay, and just a quick word. Remember, sometimes you see I type with the quotation. Sometimes I don't. Normally, when you have the quotation, it's a series of characters. You tell computers this is a series of characters. If you do not have it, normally it's a variable. So if you put a quotation mark in there, what is going to happen is it will save exactly these characters into your database. So you do not get what you should expect. Anyone understand what I say? Okay, that's good. Okay, so basically when you have a quotation, it means the exact words you want to put in. So that's why if you go back to what I did before here, when I type Jane, that's exactly what I want to say Jane in there. But if you now I want to be a dynamic things, right? Yeah, I want to get the content from the input and put this into the database. So we do not put the quotation here. Okay. Also for the scores. Okay. So we want to try to do something like by default. Please be careful here. If you use scores before, use scores here. Do not miss the S, right? Because what happened is in your Mongo database, it's very flexible. You type whatever you put in there. You need to be consistent. If you do not put the S here, basically it won't match us. It will still save it for you. So just your column, you have an extra column called score without an S. So if you use scores before, please double check it. Use scores again here. Okay. So now we default like the new player, we get in there, we give it 0 score. Okay. Okay. So now you can do something like this, or you try to make it even more easier to comprehend. I will do something like this. You can just do everything in one line. Yeah, like after the comma, you can just put score. It's also fine. Okay. So now that's okay. Here 0. Why do I not use the quotation? When I say exactly, exact strings, exact characters, you need to put a quotation. Because numbers do not need quotation. It's just a rule. Okay. So characters, you need quotation. Numbers, you don't need quotation. Because numbers can be a character as well. Okay. But what is the difference? If you are a number character versus a number, is when you do addition, it doesn't work. So like a character of 0 plus 1, computers just do not know that it's a number. So if you do numbers calculations, always do not put quotation. Okay. Right now, that's fine. And here, try to learn something new. We don't need the alert anymore. Do the console. Console.log. What does that mean? Because it's really annoying when something keeps popping up and you have to press the OK to close it, or close it to close it. So console.log, basically it will print a line here to notify what's happening. So we do a logging. We call it like you want to know what's happening in the program, so you can log it. So I can say player inserted. Okay, so that's fine. Once you save it, try to double check if you do any spelling wrong, anything different from mine, you're going to cause you some trouble later. Okay. Okay. So now we go back to our app here. Okay. Don't press the app player button. Try to type something else. Try to type something like Johnny, something like this. Okay. And then when you press add player, nothing happens. Okay, this is really bad user experience. We got bad UX because once you press the button, you didn't know it works or not. Okay, but that's okay because we are still building it. But if you go back to here, okay, you should see there is a player inserted in your console. Okay, this is good for programmer because we now know we actually did something. Okay, so because if you don't, you just keep pressing, right? Don't do this because actually whenever you do something, whenever you click, you actually add the player, you add into your database. So you don't want to have so many duplicates. So here, if you go back to your console, try to find the. If you don't, just call scores.find.fetch. You should have another object created, and that should be the Johnny. And this is to verify you actually insert something new into your database. Yeah, so make sure you can actually create something into your database. Got it? Yeah. Yeah. Anything different? You successfully inserted.
Just go to your console. Yeah, you can actually go to your wrong as well. Yeah, and then click here, the black space, and then Control Enter. Okay, so maybe you didn't insert it there. Okay, just go back to the browser, console. Okay, so some problem. Syntax error, something like this. Okay, must have this or something. Go back here. It will tell you what happened, what's wrong. Leaderboard.js, line 15. Okay, so and the color. So something maybe do something. Okay. Okay, let's check the brackets. Here, you're right. Scores here and showing log. Okay, okay, here. This is corresponding to this arrow and this bracket. That doesn't make sense. You missed one thing. Yeah. Because this should be the same part, and then this should be the same part. Okay, so it's just missing a bracket. But here, try to indent. It's easier to see. So you see that this is actually this line, this is the bracket. Okay, save it. And then you should see Meteor server restart. Okay, restarting. And then, okay, going back there. Meteor. Okay, that's good. Now just type something. Yeah, and then add pair. Okay, pair insert. So just go back and check. Oh, yeah. You should have one extra object. And you go to see your roll logo. Control Enter. Yeah, you get the JR.緊要先係講嘅，呢度揾翻你呢個 better， 3個，真係未試啊！你都知我打呢個。Okay, you got a new guy? Alright, don't try to keep crashing it because you're going to add a lot more users. Okay, so now some basic thing you've done. So you can now type up something and insert into the database. So far, not so hard. Okay, but when I say it's bad UX, why? Because you can, I mean, someone, if it doesn't know, it will just keep pressing. It doesn't know it finished. So what you can do, you can actually use the alert and say player inserted, so people know actually have some feedback. But that's annoying. What we can do better is, what about we clear this field when we finish? Okay. Okay. How do we do it? It's very easy. Here, how do we find this input? Remember all the jQuery thing? $, and try to find this field. We just copy it here. Okay. This time we find the input field. We're going to change the value. Okay. Now that's how we get the value. And actually we can set the value as well. Sorry, here. And how do you set value? If you put this into like 1, 2, 3, it will set the value in 1, 2, 3. But you want to be empty. Empty means nothing. Nothing is an empty string, something like this. So you give a quotation without anything inside, it means empty. So it will change the value of the input, the content of the input becomes empty. So just do this, save it. Okay, and then just try again. 今次我哋試下轉一轉個名。We try to change the name, and then this time we just really call it David maybe. And then add player. Oh, it disappeared. Yeah, that means it's working. Okay. So far that's okay. Just one little thing I would like to teach you more. Okay, if you go to that modern website, you don't know what to type in this field, do you? You don't know. I tell you this current type name, but you could type your email address or something else.
But how do you get the hints for to let people know what you want to put in there? There's actually special attributes you can use. So go back to your input. At the end of it, add a new thing. It's called placeholder. Placeholder equal double quotation mark, type a name. Something like this. And you can call whatever you want. Save it, and you will see like inside here, it grays out, tell you the hints about what you should do in here. Okay, so when you click on it, you can know. Okay, you can type the name. So this is a placeholder. So it gives the more sense for your user to know what you should do, what they should do in your app. Okay, cool. So now we have done the basics. We can add a player, but that's a problem. It doesn't show the players from the database, and that's not what we want. Okay, so now we're moving into the last part of this tutorial. So now we have done with events because you have only one event, which is when you click the add player. With the plus or -5, and we will save it for next class. So now we are going to actually display the content. So in order to make the HTML dynamic, anyone remember what I said? What you should put in your HTML? The curly brackets. Remember, anything you want to make it dynamic, you put the curly brackets. And what we are going to do, we are going to put curly brackets into HTML. But how do you call a function? How do you trigger a function in JavaScript through HTML? You use helpers. Now going back, events, what does event do? When you do an event, it triggers some code, okay? But now here, when we want HTML to trigger something, we use helpers. So just do something simple. Just call it test, and the brackets. Open it, and open the curly bracket, and then type return, and then just type string. I'll say sorry, like this, and then yeah. Okay. Remember, what do I call a function? A function is something you give some input, and they can give you some output. Sometimes you need to explicitly specify what do you want in return. Return means the output. Okay. So now, if you call a function called test, it will give you the Okay. How do you trigger this test function? Remember, helpers need to be triggered from HTML. So here, try to put it right on top of your Meteor container. Type curly brackets. This time without the right arrow. With the right arrow, that means calling a template. Without a right arrow, just curly brackets, it means a helper. So just put test in there, and then save. And then in here, in between your middle container and your top container, we try to ask JavaScript to return us something, and that is where this comes from. Okay. So you think about this. Why do I bother do so many things if I can just type here, right? But when you have helpers, it gives us further flexibility to control the code. I don't need to just return I can actually do something like 3 + 4. Okay? And then if you save it, you see 7. So that's a function. You can actually control what you want to do. That's programming. You don't want to just render out static content. Okay, this is how we do tests. So you can actually delete it because I'm not going to use it. Okay, what we want to do, you want to get the content out from the database. So we will change the text here to get all players. Okay, remember how do you see all the players? You do scores.find.fetch, right? What about we try to return this? Scores.find.fetch. Exactly the same command you type in the command prompt.
Okay, so now you have a new helper. It's called get all players, and then you have this function will return you all the entries in your database. Okay, so just save it. Okay, where are we going to output this? We have the trigger. So you just go back to your let's put it underneath your table. Underneath, above your first row, and then with the curly brackets. Okay. Now you see something weird, but that's okay. You remember if you type in your console, if you do score.finder-fetch, what will you see? You should see, for my case, you should see 4 objects with the expandable arrow. And here, try to count how many objects here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, I have 5 objects actually. So basically, you are actually returning what you have in the database. Okay, but just this is not what we want. Okay, but at least you know that you are actually returning something from your database, because exactly 5 objects in the database, it gives 5 objects. Okay, so what is going to happen next? What about we generate the number of rows corresponding to what you have in your database? So how do you do it? We're going to introduce you another syntax. Here, it's not just helpers. We can actually do something more in the curly brackets. So underneath your header, here, type something like this, hash each. Okay? Okay, and then after each, have a space, and then call the get all players. Okay? Don't press save first. It's not yet finished. Okay? And then try to delete the rest. Just leave one row left. So underneath this one row, do the double bracket things, and then with backslash, like closing your HTML, and then each. Okay. Once you've done this, try to press save. If everyone got it, you should see something like mine. You have many David now. Okay? You have many Davids. But try to count how many Davids. I have 5. Why? Because I have 5 objects in my database. I deliberately didn't delete the object thing on the top. I just want to let you know, when you have 5 objects, you have 5 rows. Okay? Once you guys have done this, try to do something, and I want you guys to just pay attention what happened. Now type a new name. Anything. Say a girl name like Vicky. Okay. And then I add a player. Just watch. When I press the add player, okay, I got a new row. Although it's still called David, it's not working right. And on top, we have now got 6 objects. So you know that all this, what you are displaying, is actually from your database. Okay, because we are calling all David. So what happened in here? In each, this is what we call an each tag. So it actually get all the players out, and every time when you find one player, it will display this block of stuff. Okay, that makes sense. But that doesn't mean we've done the right thing, because we want to get the name out. Okay, what you can do? Partly, you can actually write all the functions, like get David, get Tom, get Vicky, and get their name. But Meteor is actually really smart enough. You don't need to do this, because we know that each player, what kind of columns we have. We have a name and a score. Okay, because all the structure are the same. For David is the same. For Vicky is the same. For each of the user is the same. So what you can do here, just do the double brackets, call the name,
and the double brackets call the scores. And then you can delete the get all players on the top. Once you save it, your leaderboard is done. This is exactly what you have in your database. It should be.哦，點解做咗呢個啊？因為而家就每一個 player 都唔同嘅，每一個 player 咧，你就 output 啲嘢，係啊，咁咪就全部呢個咯。即係呢個係你當呢個貨其實佢做幾多次，咁佢有幾多個 player 就做幾多次。OK， 咁而家你有四個3個 player， 有2、3、5個 player， 佢做5次，5次做啲咩咧？每一次就 output 一項，要 data 減。咁即係所謂你係有5個 count 係5嘅，你 loop 咗5次，但係呢5次都係出同一樣嘢，明唔明啊？好啦，講翻俾你例子，而家咧呢個 function 咧做啲咩啊？就係 return 翻你入邊有幾多人，入邊嗰啲 object 啦，咁你攞晒，咁你有5個 ，OK 好啦，咁如果咧翻嚟，呢個就係俾到呢個 function 係 return 緊5嚿嘢，跟住呢個點咧？你係每一個 return 翻嚟嘅嘢，咁其實咧其實係2個 function， 即係首先我要 call 晒啲人嚟啦，然後咧就每一個人係啊，所以其實咧我冇詳細講咧，就因為呢個係一個 helper， 但係呢個係一個 loop， 咁所以而家你就明白，其實咧如果你有5嚿嘢啦，佢咧就會真係做5次，咁呢嚿嘢咧係dynamic，即係你有幾多個就攞出嚟，咁所以其實呢個位係 call 緊另一個 helper， 即係 call 緊同一個 helper。係啊，你明白嘛？係啦，你當呢個 array 有5個，係啦，咁而家你就每一次就攞 array 入邊嘢就每見到 array 有一嚿嘢就出一個出嚟，就係咁啦，係啦，咁所以同個 concept 唔係相當複雜。Okay, does everyone got it? Yeah. So by just writing really not many codes, you already get everything in your database. And that's how powerful Meteor is, because it just helps you to write less code to achieve something. So this part might seem quite magical. I would say magical, because if you just got the same key, you can actually output the values. Yeah. So say you don't just have scores. If you say have a gender, you just need to type something like TD and then a gender. You can output everything of each user, and that actually saves you a lot of time. This is actually a helper as well, but it's just a helper that Meteor writes for you. You don't need to worry about finding the same thing. Yeah. And so now, when you finish, just try to do the leaderboard again. This time, try to have say Sanuker. Okay. Once you add the player, you immediately see the website without refreshing. It adds to the list. And that is a modern website should be like, and you shouldn't be refreshing. Yeah. And that's why Meteor called itself a really good framework for real-time application. It feels so quick that even it's a persistent. It's not even like just on this web page. You try to refresh it, because things are from the database, you always see the same thing. Try one more is you open a new browser, going back to the same page, localhost 3000. Try to add something on the left. You should see it on both screens. You can get the same thing, like Susan. Okay? See, both of them output at the same time. And actually, just want to demonstrate how real time that is. If you want to, try to connect to my applications. Try to type this 10.10.100.207 and then colon 3000. 10.10.100.207 colon 3000. You should see my leaderboard. Anyone not seeing it? And try to type the name. Try to add a new page. And you can see on my screen, real time. Yeah, someone to haha, someone to hello. So everyone just try to type something. Yeah. Offense. Okay. So basically, that's what an application is like. We are all connecting to my server, which is my computer, and this is how and this is how an application is going to be like. Then if you do a Facebook, that's how it should be. Everyone interacting and should be seeing the same thing at the same time. And that's how you build an application, like actually more than web application. So I think that's the end of today. Thank you very much. And if you have any questions, feel free to stay and ask. And also we have the Wave guy to talk about more.
Hi everyone. I'm Silas. I'm just met you guys. How's the class? How's everything?
They're hungry.
Lauren is really nice. Okay. We have post bootcamp information earlier on event, right? We actually have an early bird section for the upcoming class on August, and then see who will be interested to join today or like these following few days. We can still extend the early bird to you guys. Yeah, so just drop us a line, or we can go to the landing page Lawrence, can you open the landing page?
Okay, it's called Coding Bootcamp. Yeah, it's called codingbootcamp.thewave.com.hk. So you can see this is written in Meteor. It's really nice. It feels real time because you can see everything. This is all coding, and it's nothing fancy. It's still HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. So let me just review a little bit about what the course is going to be. We're teaching same thing like Meteor, but in an intermediate level. So we have like class hours, and then this is not just about learning something. And because we are cooperating with some corporate partners, we are going to have yeah. Okay, so we have some corporate partners. So if you are interested in like the IT industry, and if you would like to like maybe switch a career later, and this is actually
want to pitch them.
Yeah, if you have like if you say you actually already know something about programming and you want to get a job, and this is a perfect opportunity because we are partnering with these organizations. They will actually interview you for internship or like full-time job roles in IT fields or related. And so we hope that by the end of this 50 hours plus like learning hours, and then you should be able to become a same level as a junior developer, that you can actually get into this kind of internship or like full-time role, so you can become a programmer. Okay, so in the course, we are going to teach you HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, as I said before. You will learn how to build a responsive website, also how to build mobile applications. And actually all this, we have actually got 3 main projects during the course. You can learn, and actually this become your portfolio. If you want to get a job interview later, job recruiters or like employers will definitely ask for your reference. What have you done before? You said you know programming, so can you prove to me what kind of things you can do? So we want to make this course really practical. So the projects, there are actually 2 personal projects and also 1 group project. So one is like building your own website and a personal blog. Another one is actually build a WhatsApp real-time chat application. So you can actually do it. And then the last part is a group project. Then you can do anything like a mobile application connected with a server. It could be Uber or something, or Airbnb or something, or anything. Because once you have learned all the skills in the course, you should be able to build just any app in the market. Okay, but I'm not saying that one person can do it so quickly. That's why we make it a group project. So everyone, if you have an idea in mind, something you would like to do as a startup or as a side business, or you just want to do something to solve your problem, and then hopefully you can try this out with your group projects and actually code it out and get into the market. And that's why we are saying that if you're not interested in like internship and something, you can actually pitch this idea to this organization. Let's say, hey, Microsoft, I've got this great app. What do you think? I mean, something like this. I mean, we actually want you to be creative and to actually make the most out of what you learn. And this is
Yeah.
pretty much.
Yeah, this is the idea that we would like to do a boot camp because you know, nowadays a lot of startups and they would like to know about coding. So the way collaborate with Sanuker. So the way we would like to be like a bridge to connect all the startups to the corporate partners. So we have Google Bank, Microsoft, and HKC, and also at one they often hire a lot of web developers. So you know that.
I think they know
You know that one? I thought you have some response. Okay. So for those who are interested, you can actually make an application down below. Upstairs. Yeah. So you can just put in your name and then your contact here, so we will receive your application and we'll send information to you. And also the full syllabus. I think you guys have already received the syllabus. Who doesn't have the syllabus from us? I think you went through from Eventbrite for the registration. We can drop you the syllabus.
Okay, maybe that's one.
Yes, I will send you the syllabus so you have a more idea what the 50 hours plus, including for the curriculum.
Yeah.
So if you have any friends would like to join, you can also let them know. If you two join together, we will have some special discount for two-person participation. So. You guys have any questions for the bootcamp to us?
What is it going to be?
Sorry?
It's going to be on at the weekends in August. So every Saturday and Sunday in August, and it will start from like 9 to 5. Yeah. So the typical hours will be 9 to 6. So it's quite intensive.
Yeah.
You're going to devote like all your weekends in your August summertime to do this. And I think also there are some sessions that we have sharing from the industry leaders, like from Microsoft and also from other like startups or like people in the field to share you about what is happening in the landscape in the IT field. And I would, to be very honest, IT field is something really lack of talents right now. So there are many job opportunities. So that's why people are looking for coders or like interested like individuals who can actually do something like coding and have some reference out. Because often like even my firm, we are actually open for hire all the time, and we will assess like different candidates. We ask them what can you do, and we don't. I mean, it doesn't mean you have to do a lot of things, but at least you can prove to us, okay, this is something that I learned how to do it. Even doesn't look well, I know that you could do it. But a lot of the employers sometimes are looking for the passion and also whether you're willing to learn new things. So I think this is also good opportunities to build up your portfolio and at the same time to get to know the latest technologies. Because Meteor is actually quite it's not new framework, it's already happens around like 4 to 5 years. But as you see, it's not so difficult to understand. And actually you can build a lot of applications. So if you guys anyone using Mark, that's the one that we did for the registrations. We did it with Meteor. We did this website with Meteor. We did a lot of things with Meteor. So the possibilities endless. The only limit is your creativity. So you can. I mean, to me, I love coding. So that's why I share this passion with everyone else. So I also urge you, like, if even you're not very interested, I still encourage you to keep learning, to keep coding, because this is going to be an essential skills for your lifetime. Because then you are just going to see more coders, more people who knows how to code, and yeah, this is. I hope you guys enjoy what happens today, and keep learning.
Let me explain a little bit more on the package, because a lot of coding class, the hourly rate outside is like almost like 3,000 per hour. Or if you would like to join GA, the class is like almost like 100,000 for the whole class. So we are offering really something, a really good price for these 50 hours. And on top of that, the Wave has include a 1 month membership here complimentary. So during the whole August, you can access all the facility in the Wave. You are able to meet our tenants here to enjoy to attend our seminar events, things like that. So it's a really good value of money. Yeah. So let us know if you would like to enroll to this class.
Okay.
Oh yes, and also on August, every Thursday, there will be a tutor class complimentary as well from 7 to 10 o'clock. Since Lawrence and the team will be stationing here for the trial class, the teammate will also be able to act as a tutor section outside. If you comes up to do your portfolio, your project, you can stay outside. If you have any questions, just let us know. We can give you some tutor section complimentary on every Thursday. So we really plan the whole project from the user point of view. All right. So I hope you guys enjoyed the class. Anyone want to enroll to this bootcamp? Just go to the link and then input your information, or you can directly contact me. Okay. You guys have my name card?
No.
No, I'll drop you my name card.
Talk about